Hey, all my Leo friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your February 2025 monthly horoscope. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology. So when I'm talking about Leo, I'm referring to Leo rising as dictating the landscape of the chart and being the first house. This is also applicable to Leo sun and Leo moon, but the house structure will not be the same. When I refer to a day and a time, it's based on the Pacific time zone. So please adjust for your location. Today happens to be February 3rd. I have fell prey to my own 12th house stellium in Pisces, as we're all feeling it. So please pardon the tardiness of this video. The beginning of the month, the first started with a North Node Venus Neptune conjunction in Pisces at 28 degrees. Pisces is your eighth house of transformation, of other people's money, of death and taxes, of sex, and of that deep psychological imprint that oftentimes is the foundation with which we make our decisions. So there'll be a lot of energy focusing in on wanting to connect with a deeper truth within you, something that is authentic to your heart and something that's very creative. Now we get to the 4th, which is tomorrow, where Venus moves into Aries, and I'm going to pull up the chart now for you to see that. Oh, before I do that, the main themes of the month are Jupiter turning direct in Gemini. Gemini is your 11th house. That's the house that's moving us into the future. It's the house that focuses in on the collective, on innovation, and on technology, and on our large social networks. We see Mars turn direct in Cancer. Cancer is your 12th house. This has been a bit of a challenge because Mars is in fall in Cancer and is feeling a little bit frustrated in not being able to move a story forward. It also would potentially be bringing up any old ancestral sort of issues you have connected to the mother energy, the creative energy, the healing energy, sort of that nurturing energy. We will have a full moon, which I'll be doing separate videos on the full moon and the new moon, but we'll have a full moon on the 12th that is 24 degrees of Leo at 5:53 a.m. Pacific time, conjunct Mercury. This full moon is going to illuminate something that has to do, the sun is actually conjunct Mercury, not the moon. And this is going to illuminate something in the Aquarian energy, where Mercury is looking to really start to put thoughts to the future. And the moon is going to reflect something that has to do with my ego feeling potentially alone and having to do everything by myself. I kind of want to go there. I don't know that that's necessarily true, but it could illuminate a historic feeling of that. Now we see a new moon on the 27th at 9 degrees of Pisces. Pisces, again, is your eighth house. Leo, by the way, is your first house. So you will see a full moon in the first house that will illuminate something about the self. And with that sun in Aquarius, you also have Pluto in Aquarius, which is bringing in new opportunities for rebirthing yourself. And oftentimes that comes through a bit of tension as something must give way to the rebirthing. So there's a lot going on. I do want to say that Jupiter is stations in Gemini. Again, Gemini is your 11th house at 11 degrees from the 1st of February all the way to the 24th. So it's initially retrograde, stationed, and then it stations direct. And it's anchoring at that 11th degree, making me very aware of my thoughts. Jupiter is in detriment in Gemini. So this is an integration of those sort of that monkey mind that Mercury can represent, and then the expansiveness of Jupiter coming together to create a plan to move you into a new territory, something foreign, something that is more authentic to your truth and to what you want to experience in the future. And having Mars in your 12th house is this again, sort of a review of past angers, resentments, frustrations that are connected to home, hearth, family, the nurturing experience, the maternal experience, and even the traditions of your ethnicity. So now what I'm going to do is bring up the chart on the 4th, where we see Venus has moved into Aries, and Aries is your 9th house. Okay, so here we see the chart happens to be on Taurus right now. I can't make it go on Leo without using someone's personal information. So Leo is your 1st house, and Aries is, again, your 9th house of beliefs and of expansion materially. The 9th house is often thought of as foreign people, foreign travel, religion, the justice system, and yet it's very much a house of business and commerce. And here it would be about birthing that individually, being brave enough to do that. Venus is at that very pivotal 0 degree of Aries, where when we hit that 0 degree of Aries, it's where we're literally the most co-creative degree, because it's where the soul enters the physical experience. So this is very pivotal. And here we're entering an experience where we're looking at your self-worth. We're looking at your ability to make money. We're looking at your skills and your talents and the relationships that you've built. And the North Node being conjunct Venus for quite some time now is wanting to be ravenous to birth those skills, to birth those talents into the physical, to see them manifested. Now, we also see that the North Node and Neptune are conjunct at 28 degrees. I think that this is very pivotal. Again, we started the month with this conjunction with Venus also at 28 degrees. That degree reduces down to a 10. The 10 is another one that represents the spirit is making you very aware of your thoughts. Your thoughts are things, and they're manifesting very quickly. And this is further echoed by Jupiter's staying at that 11 degrees for most of the month, offering you an opportunity to really examine your thoughts from a broader view, and then think about how can I integrate those thoughts more succinctly and intentionally into my everyday experience. We see on the 4th here that Mars in your 12th house is squaring Chiron. It's at the Libra degree, which is interesting, and Mars is starting to slow its roll because it's going to go direct later in the month. But at the same time, this is a wound of self and a wound of how I birth myself. Chiron is a very slow-moving planet, or asteroid, I should say. And as a result of the energies, there's an opportunity to balance the experience of home and hearth with your individuality, because that, whether it's positive or negative, your 12th house energies and Mars going through them is asking you to be brave, to see where your frustrations, your angers, your impatience has kept you from moving the story forward, from really getting from where you have been to where you want to go. And I think this is further evidenced by Saturn's trine to Mars here. Saturn representing our history, representing a potential for transformation as you use your history as a platform for birthing a new experience, literally. And I mean that even when something's been negative, you can birth its opposition. And if it has been something positive, you can birth its duplication or a similar experience. It's just having the discipline and the willingness to really dig deep. Right now, Saturn's at the Leo degree in Pisces, really asking Leo to dig deep into your heart and to have that courage to stand as the king and the queen within your own life, rather the child that needs to be cared for. We see on the 10th, Mercury and the Sun making a square to Uranus. And Uranus has been transiting through Taurus, and Taurus is your 10th house of career since like 2017. Uranus is going to stay at 23 degrees. It's been at 23 degrees since December 19th and will stay that way until March 12th, 2025. This is like this anchoring of this kinetic electric energy, like demanding the future, demanding that we move into a new sense of self, a new sense of like allowing the 10th house is a status change often, where you can go from being single to married, you can go from being childless to having a child, you can go from being, in one level in your career to a heightened level of your career. So as we look at that Taurus energy representing your 10th house and innovating that, this square over here to your 7th house is really asking you to look where your mind and your ego have inadvertently, or even your everyday activities, or maybe even the potentials of number one, your childhood experience, or number two, your actual children. And that square would be something fighting with your monkey mind, making one perception, and Uranus begging you to move into the future on some level, pushing on you to innovate those old ego thoughts. That's what I think is going on here. And I think it's super, it's a short transit, but it has a lot of oomph attached to it. That's where I want to put it. On the 14th, Mercury will move into Pisces, and on the 18th, the sun will join. Kind of early. Normally we see it around the 19th or the 20th. But here, I think this is interesting because what we're seeing is the stellium starting to grow. We know there's a new moon coming up on the 27th. So the moon will join the sun, Mercury, Saturn, Neptune. So we've got 5 planets and the North Node here. And Venus is slowing down because she's going to retrograde in early March at 10 degrees of Aries. And I kind of want to go back and revisit Venus for a minute because technically Venus is considered in detriment in Aries. Again, your 9th house of foreign travel. And literally here, I'm thinking foreign travel to a new sense of self and a new belief in myself, because Venus rules my self-worth. And in today's modern times, the female energy has been empowered to be quite a creator, to make her own money, to make her own decisions, to run her own life. So I take a little bit of pause with Venus's detriment. I think she's still getting used to the Aries energy, and sometimes she can show up a little defensive and a little bit of a warrior, but I think that comes from old dynamics that she's still breaking through. So for my Leos, I feel like this is a settling into that energy and trusting it a little bit more. And in that trust, it's like you are the rulers of the zodiac. And as you trust your heart and you have the courage to trust that soul's voice inside of you, you'll start to bring the elements into the material to support that, and thereby showing your leadership and potentially moving yourself into more lucrative times, literally financially, because the planets are starting to convene in your 8th house of other people's money, and then the 9th house of you expanding that through marketing and publishing and branding, and those all media stuff now. It's all our social platforms. It's all getting out there and producing content or providing, visual experiences for others to be engaged in our vision and then buying into it and supporting it. So here now on the 22nd, we see that Mercury, I'm sorry, I want to actually go to the 25th. No, the 24th. Pardon me, I'm getting ahead of myself again. Here, Mars has gone direct, and Mars is stationed at that 17 degrees, which is your Leo degree in your 12th house. It's going to stay stationed until the 8th of March before it moves 1 degree. So there's really going to be this sort of, I want to call it sort of this rumbling underneath. I don't know if you'll be aware, but you'll be very impatient to move the story forward. You are a fire sign, you are passionate, you're a leader, and the action-oriented Mars is really anxious to get out of Cancer and move into your sign where it feels warm and fuzzy and can reconvene its mission. But this retrograde is important because Mars has already had one opposition with Pluto, and it will have another as it comes into your 1st house later on in March. And the reflections you have now, where you see that potential angers and resentments have held you back versus trusting that intention. and that connection to spirit that will allow you that individuality that you're looking for. That trust and that faith and that nurturing, that energy is so powerful and important right now, because literally we think of other people as humans, but with your eighth house being Pisces, your other people is spirit. And then spirit will bring you the humans that will then support your vision. Let's now go to the 25th. And here we see that Saturn and Mercury are in exact conjunction at 20 degrees. That's the Capricorn degree, really sobering my thoughts and really making me think about history and about historic things and where I've been. We also see that Venus, again, is still stationed at 10 degrees. That is a Capricorn degree, and Chiron is at 20 degrees, the Capricorn degree. Here, there's a lot of reflection and review and thoughts about where you are, where you've been, where you're going. Now, the challenge for Leo is not to get too stuck in the old story, like the old story is going into the future, because that's where Uranus is really trying to break that story up and move your story forward. Again, 10th house is that house of public status. And sometimes it's not literally a shift in the physical, but a shift in the philosophical or your perspectives. And that becomes so apparent to others as you come into a more calm energy and trusting the universe. And any sort of delays. Saturn could bring in delays that actually bring something better. And I think we've seen that a lot in recent times, where initially something happens and we have a visceral reaction to it, and then we realize that over time that spirit has had a bigger plan to bring up more information that we didn't know about, that makes the balancing act more effective and more functional for our futures. Again, we have a new moon in Pisces on the 27th. I will do a separate video on that. But now let's move to the last day of the month, when we really see this stellium that's taking us into March powerfully. Here we have, the sun and the moon will move quickly through Pisces, obviously. Yet at the same time, we're going to see Venus retrograde in early March. Mercury will retrograde back into Pisces in early March. And then Saturn will catch up with Neptune, dip its toe into Aries, and then retrograde back into Pisces later this spring. This is a concentration of transformation and of your belief system. And if for some reason it feels like things are eroding, you really get to sort of examine how much you spend time in the story of your life versus the future of your life, what you have experienced versus what you could experience. I'm going to stop my share right now. This particular year, 2025, is pivotal because many slow-moving planets that take hundreds of years to traverse the zodiac are shifting energies and have not been in those energies for a while. Neptune has not been in Aries since 82. Pluto has not been in Aquarius since like 1779, 76, around there. We're seeing Uranus is going to dip its toe into Gemini, and we're really moving from this dense water and earth-based energy into fire and air. So the human experience is going to accelerate, and the idea that our thoughts are things is going to accelerate. We're going to literally see our thoughts manifest, and the more we can connect that now and have an awareness of that now, it gives us a leg up. Because the energies are going to polarize people. Some are going to cling to the old ways, and others will be more willing to move into a more accountable and co-creative dynamic, which will be very, very powerful for their flourishing and their abundance and their expansion. All right, that's it for my Leos for February of 2025. Please join me this Wednesday, the 5th of February, from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time. I'm going to be doing readings focused on you. You get to ask your own personal question, and we'll pull a tarot card spread for you. It's going to be on a first come, first served basis, and those that donate to the super chat or the super thanks will move to the head of the class. So I hope you'll be able to join me for that and come back next month for your March 2025 monthly horoscope. And if you like, there's a yearly I did that recaps every month from January to December. So check on that throughout the year. That also has other details in it. So thank you, my Leos. Have a wonderful February, and hopefully I'll see you very soon. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And I never can find my cursor at the end of my videos. I don't know where it goes. See you later.